Just ahead on American Black Journal, a national conference focusing on the Underground Railroad is coming to Detroit for the first time. We'll talk about the major role women have in this year's event. Plus, we'll have the inspiring story of a young Detroit man who's made it his mission to help black males get a college education. That's next, so stay with us.
At DTE Energy, we believe that we have a greater responsibility. We believe that being part of a community means being involved in the fabric of that community, investing time, effort, and resources in the communities we serve. DTE Energy Foundation is a proud sponsor of American Black Journal.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. This week, Detroit will host the annual National Underground Railroad Conference put on by the National Park Service. Educators, historians, and researchers from across the country will attend the 5-day conference. This year's theme centers on the role of women in the Underground Railroad. Participants will hear about the Michigan women who participated in the movement, such as former slave Elizabeth Dennison IV, former slave and abolitionist Sojourner Truth, and Underground Railroad agent and abolitionist Laura Smith Haviland. The Michigan Freedom Trail Commission is the local host of the conference. Joining me now is the chairperson of the commission, Rochelle Danquah, along with the vice chair, Dr. Roy Finkenbine. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you.
This sounds like a very exciting thing for Detroit. I have to admit, I did not know this conference was coming here this year. What made this happen?
Well, Stephen, for a very long time, this genre of history, which is the Underground Railroad in the United States, there has been undergoing efforts throughout the country to unearth unusual and unique stories. Yeah. And Michigan, for a while, we had petitioned to have the conference here, and we were lucky enough to be the co-host this year and host it for the year 2014.
Yeah, and I would imagine that one of the reasons that Detroit is a great spot for this is because we have so many places around town that link right directly into this, right?
Absolutely. Detroit, I call it ground zero for the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
This was the major crossing point into Canada. And in addition to geography, I think it had an unusually empathetic and militant community, blacks and whites, who were willing to work together to make it happen, to protect people if they stayed here and to help them get across to Canada if they wanted to go there.
Right. And some of the sites that I know about, I would imagine there's probably a lot of other sites I don't know about around town, but I think they would surprise people in terms of where they are. They aren't just in Detroit. It's the entire sort of riverfront sort of border where we find all kinds of important Underground Railroads.
Oh, you would be surprised, Stephen, in regards to how many families in this area alone, in the Wixom and Oakland County area, were also willing to assist in regards to fugitives seeking freedom and moving onward to Canada. Right here in our own backyard of Oakland County, believe it or not, Farmington was the pivoting point for fugitives coming into the area. Sometime when Detroit was deemed an area where it was a hotbed of perhaps slave catchers in the area, this was used as an alternative route.
They went to Farmington instead.
Correct, all throughout Oakland County as well as other parts of Wayne County. But we also must remember that the movement also impacted the entire state. We have sites even as far west as Muskegon and cities on that side of the state in regards to abolitionists and individuals who are willing to assist. But of course, once making their way to Michigan, we have Detroit being the main hub, of course, crossing over to what was called Canada.
Right, right. Let's talk about the role of women and the special focus on women during this conference. Again, I'm not sure that most people would assume that's part of the history.
No, not necessarily. Oftentimes when we think of women in the 19th century, we often think of women still being gentile, primarily homemakers, and the ones who would keep the family together in regards to having children. But under new evidence and new information that's currently being researched by numerous scholars, we're finding women of the 19th century were much more than that.
They were much more involved.
Oh, much more involved, especially here in the state of Michigan, when we look at someone such as a pioneering woman as Laura Smith Haviland. Okay.
I was just going to add.
Go ahead.
I mean, one of the things that Rochelle has touched on. I mean, obviously, men were much more publicly prominent in the 19th century, But what that did is hide a lot of women's involvement
right.
effectively. You know, women were the ones who were feeding runaway slaves. They were providing them with clothing. They were providing them oftentimes with medical care and taking care of them when they were in safe houses along the route. The men may be going out and doing what appeared to be more adventurous
right.
And dangerous stuff, but in fact the women were just as liable to fines, prosecution, and so forth as the men were.
Sure.
It's just been more hidden.
Right. And so that viewers know, Laura Smith Haviland, who was that, and why is she being celebrated here?
Laura Smith has a very long history here in the state of Michigan, primarily out of Lenawee County. And we would, sometimes she's recognized as Michigan's version of Harriet Tubman. White abolitionist out of Lenawee County, and her history in regards to not only being a mother and a wife, but being a highly proactive abolitionist, as well as helping freedom seekers also as an agent, oftentimes putting her own life at risk in regards to helping fugitives seeking freedom on their way to Canada. Laura also was known for her commitment to educating the freedom seekers once they arrived here in Michigan.
Right.
And in fact, Laura Smith Haviland, fortunately for us, wrote her memoirs and published them in the 1880s. Not every, not every activist that assisted people in the Underground Railroad did that, and it provides us with a real insight into her life. One of the things that she did that not a lot of other people could do is she actually went to places like Arkansas and Cincinnati and Kentucky and help freedom seekers get northward to Canada.
Right, right. You mentioned the danger that people working in the Underground Railroad were putting themselves in. That's another thing I'm not sure we talk enough about. This was not popular. This was not safe in a lot of cases, and if you got caught doing it, the consequences could be quite dire.
Correct. The consequences could be quite dire on both sides of the fugitive seeking freedom. Often, sometimes they could, if captured, be returned to slavery, and returned to slavery in some of the more severe states, like that old saying that goes called "sold down the river."
Right.
And a lot of slaves really feared that because slavery in the South or the Deep South, Mississippi, it was much more horrendous than those in the border states of Kentucky.
Sure.
And for many of the abolitionists who were here in Michigan, for example, we have one abolitionist by the name of Walker, I believe it was, who was a white abolitionist who helped freedom seekers. And when he was tried for his crimes, because these were federal crimes that these abolitionists were committing, and in regards to him not only serving time, he also had I believe it was a hot iron was placed in his hand and the letters SS to let people know that he was a slave still.
That he'd done that.
That he had done that.
Yeah.
Many individuals, even in this area, keep in mind that the majority of the abolitionists in the Oakland County, further outside of Wayne County, they were farmers, and they could jeopardize having their farms taken from them as well. So it was a dangerous mission, and once again, it's a very difficult genre to understand. Most people want to think of it as like a mystical, magical fairy ride, and it really wasn't.
It was not.
A real Underground Railroad train. Some people think so.
Right, some people, well, I can remember when I was a child, and they teach you about this in school, that's what you picture, is some sort of train underground. You're not really thinking of the kind of struggle, the kind of human struggle that this represented.
And when you talk about the human struggle, as well as the psychology of the individual who had to escape, taking under consideration that they were leaving behind sometimes spouses, and in women's case, since the conference is focused on women, the fact that some women had to leave behind children.
Had to leave behind their kids.
And there are some cases women did actually bring their children with them. But once again,
but that's difficult. So dangerous,
Very dangerous. It's not only dangerous for the individual. In most cases, we of course know of, document primarily males, but when a family, especially a woman, would escape with her children, those risk factors just went up a lot more.
Yeah.
And a number of the activists, Haviland being an example, actually had prices put on their head. Slave catchers and masters sought them out, so it wasn't just the federal government. That might
it was like a whole bounty culture.
A whole bounty culture So people who engaged in this business were breaking federal law, and they were liable for everything from community ostracism to major prison time and major fines.
Right.
So they, this was a whole, it was underground in the sense it was secret.
Right.
It was hidden, and people were committing, in the law's eyes, the worst kind of disobedience.
Right, but of course, also in a moral sense, standing up for a very important principle. I'm wondering if each of you could tell me, if somebody wanted to learn more, somebody who didn't know much about Michigan's role or Detroit's role in the Underground Railroad, where would you start? Where would you say that would be the first place they should go?
Perhaps I'm a little biased, but I would say start with the Michigan Freedom Trail Commission.
Well, there you go.
And we're actually part of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources.
Right.
And we do have an up and running website which gives just lay community information on the resistance movement in Michigan, as well as we do have on our site. Michigan actually has a few sites and programs that are what they deem legitimate either programs and sites in the state that are part of the Network to Freedom.
Right.
So those sites are all throughout the state of Michigan, but I would say start with us.
Yeah.
And then if you don't mind me just sharing also with Roy,
Sure.
Roy runs the Summer Institute for educators. And when you say educators, that's just not limited to teachers, but individuals, we all teach.
Right.
And so I would also say start with the University of Detroit Mercy in regards to the Summer Institute that they run.
Right.
Very intensive, and not only do you learn local history, but also national history.
But the context, right?
The context
Right.
correctly.
Right, right.
And one of the positives there is, since this is developed and it's run about 10 years, some of the local museums have set personnel to sit in on those classes as they develop their own Underground Railroad
Right.
exhibits.
Yeah, yeah. I've gone to, and I can't remember whether it was First or Second Baptist Church on Second Baptist on Monroe in downtown Detroit, and seen the displays there and the things. It is such a moving experience, and I think until you see it, you don't really quite understand. So it's great that you guys are doing all that.
If I could add one
Sure.
more thing, and since we're highlighting the conference, come to the conference.
Yeah, right.
There's
That's a great way to
wealth of
learn.
information that's going to be shared, both through traditional sessions, through keynote speakers of prominence that are being brought in from around the nation,
Yeah.
through tours, through plays that are being put on. Our own theater company, as well as Mosaic Youth Theater,
Yeah,
as well
wonderful
as a
organization.
theater production
Yeah.
company from Southwest Michigan,
Yeah.
where the Underground is prominent, are putting on plays about the Underground. So there's a lot of history to be learned just next week.
Just next week, yeah. Well, great to have you guys here, and we'll see you at the conference.
All right, thank you.
Stephen.
Thank you,
Absolutely. Just ahead, we'll meet a young man who's using his own life experience to inspire other black males. That's next, right after this look at some important moments in Detroit's black history.
I'm Ken Coleman with a look back at African American life in Detroit. This week in 1975, celebrated playwright Ron Milner's What the Wine Cellars Buy opened a 14-day engagement at the Fisher Theater. In 1943, Calvin Peete was born in Detroit. He became a professional golfer and the winner of the 1979 Greater Milwaukee Open. And in 1934, Harold E. Bledsoe was appointed Assistant State Attorney General, the first African American to serve in the post. These are significant events this week in Detroit's Black History, taken from the book On This Day, African American Life in Detroit.
Our next guest is on a mission to help African American males earn college degrees. Although he didn't have many role models while growing up in Detroit, Bryant George was the first in his family to attend and graduate from college. Now he's helping other black men get a higher education through his Bridging Lost Gaps program at Madonna University. I'm pleased to welcome Bryant George to American Black Journal. Also here today are two of his students, Jerrick Breckenridge and Delvonta Pinkston. Thanks for being here.
Even thanks you.
Yeah. So I met you a couple months ago and was really inspired by the work that you're doing. Tell me about how you got this all started.
Thank you. Well, in 2006, I was at Northwestern High School, and I was approached by a gentleman named Sid E. Taylor. He's the CEO and chairman of the Real Life 101 Scholarship and a Mentorship Program. And so he told me that, being an African-American male, 1 out of 3 of you all have a chance of going to prison in your lifetime.
Sure.
I was about to graduate. I had no idea what I was about to do with my life. And he said, hey, I'll give you a $5,000 scholarship, a certified personal mentor, and a free laptop to go to any college of your choice. And so I took on that challenge and that commitment, and I saw it, you know, in my environment and my neighborhood, and the way I grew up with seeing my mother, you know, be beat by men, and, you know, she had me at the age of 17, and, you know, we were on food stamps, and, you know, as a child, I knew that wasn't real life. And so I began to ask myself these two questions. What is real life to you, and how are you going to succeed at it? And so I took this challenge, and I went to college, and, you know, I'm grateful that I chose Madonna University, and I was a two-sport athlete there at the university, a scholar athlete at that. And I was, you know, it was a predominantly white institution. And culturally, I was scared initially.
A little isolated, right?
Absolutely. And so I began writing in a journal. And in this journal, I would write, you know, love letters to God, and I would thank him for getting me through another day and another week. And, you know, I did that over the course of 4 years, and I earned my degree in 2010. And so with that, Madonna University hired me as an admissions officer. And, you know, I went back to these journals, and I said, you know what? We don't have a lot of African-American male students here at this institution. And this is a hidden gem. This is a wonderful institution with the faculty, staff, and the administrators. I said, well, we need to have more African-American males here. And so I took this journal of my life and my journey, and I turned it into an actual program, and then you have these guys. Right.
So tell me about how the program works, and then we'll talk to two guys who are the subjects of it now. Right?
So I just believe in strategic recruitment. You know, when I was being recruited for colleges, I didn't understand it, you know, being the first in my family to go off to college. And so what I do is we go into the high schools, we make it personal. So we only meet with the African-American male students there. They're recommended by their teachers, counselors, and principals. And with that, we give them this whole notion of we have a brotherhood here, we have an institution that is invested into your lives, and hey, we're all from Detroit. And so you know, we understand we're competent in what you're going through, and we're succeeding at a very high rate. And so that's one phase. And then the next phase is that they go through a pre-college program while they are in high school. And so we're engaging them where we're bringing down our professors from the institution. We're bringing in guest speakers and student affairs professionals that are helping them with that high school transition, that transition from high school into college. And so once that takes place, and then they go through a 7-week summer bridge program. And so they live on campus for the entire summer of the 7 weeks. They take 3 college courses. We have organized enrichment activities to help them with the culture shock and to engage them and to create this sense of a brotherhood. And so once they get through the summer bridge program, then you have the fall.
Now you're starting.
Absolutely.
And they're starting in a very different place than where you started, which was sort of cold and on your own.
Yes, sir.
So tell me how this. Tell me where you are in the program, and then tell me what you think of it.
Well, I'm a sophomore. I'm going into my 2nd year.
I'm also a sophomore going into my 2nd year.
Okay, so tell me how this all worked for you, and how they connected with you in your high school.
Well, my cousin actually met Bryant before I did, so he told me about Madonna University. At first, I never even heard about it. But then when he told me, I figured it'd be a good idea, but I really wasn't taking it as serious as I should have. Bryant kept calling me, and then he made me realize, like, I need to make a change.
Well, I went to Northwestern High School as well, and like he came to our school and started talking to us about like what are we gonna do like after we graduate, and I had no idea. I was just lost as ever. And then he started talking about Madonna, and I really just thought of it as another person coming to our school trying to get us to go to their college and get their numbers up. But it really was the opposite. Like he even like came to see me off the prom, and it really showed me that he had a personal endeavor in our lives.
So you're both from Northwestern?
No, I went to Oak Park High School.
You went to Oak Park. Tell me about what the environment was like in those schools for kids like you in terms of helping you make choices about what you would do after.
Well, a lot of the kids in my school weren't really going to college. A lot of them just go to school because they have to. And honestly, that's what I was doing. But then my grandma told me, like, either you're going to go to college or you're going to be working at McDonald's. So it's like, thank you, Grandma.
That's a pretty dramatic choice, right?
Well, I didn't really know what I was going to do like after high school at all. I wanted to go to college, but I didn't know how I would succeed there. I didn't see it like happening for me. And coming to like Madonna, which is a totally different environment than from my high school, because my high school was majority of African American students, and to be the minority, as Bryant was saying, it's difficult because you're a fish out of water and you don't know exactly what to do.
Well, it's the first time maybe in your life that you are an actual numerical minority in terms of race, right?
Well, with the BLG program, we're learning like new things and learning how to succeed and thrive and not just pass through.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So talk to me about the first couple of months on campus, what that was like, that first time you walk into a classroom and maybe you're the only African American there. How tough was that?
For me, the first 2 weeks were the hardest.
Yeah.
I had to make the transition. Like, we did the summer program and everything, but we didn't really have to interact with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I wasn't culture shocked because I already like hung around a lot of white people.
Yeah, and in Oak Park, it's a little more integrated community, right?
Yes, but the first 2 weeks was just rough because I was forgetting all of my stuff. Like, I forgot my rags, my towels, and my things like that. So I was just like, oh my goodness, it was just so.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty common first couple of weeks of college for everybody, right?
It was very strange because my first class was a writing class where I was the only African American male, like only African American person in general, and all the rest of the students are white females and one Asian kid. Yeah. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, this is new. Yeah, right. And it was really difficult, but I learned like to see at Madonna like race doesn't really matter like with the students. It's really diverse, especially now with the BLG program. We have white students, African American students, Caucasian, Asian students, international students. So it was difficult at first because I didn't know exactly what to do. As I said, being a fish out of water, but I adapted quickly. Yeah, yeah. You know, it occurs to me that you've got a lot of colleges who are concerned about their numbers, right, in terms of diversity, but they don't necessarily get that it's not just about admitting kids of different backgrounds. It's about giving them that support once they're there, and it's really interesting that Madonna has picked up on that, it seems like.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's a wonderful institution. I probably wouldn't sit here today if it wasn't because of Madonna University. Yeah. I mean, you know, we have a code of ethics where we set an expectation for our students. And, you know, we expect our students to succeed at a high rate. But with that expectation, we provide support. So that can come from the Writing Center, the TRAL office, you know, our early alert system. And with that support, then guess what? We provide assessment and feedback to these students. We tell them how you're doing, you know, if you're doing things good, if you're doing things wrong. Right. You know, we're there to support
Here's
them.
Where you can maybe do things a little differently.
Absolutely. And then we just keep them engaged, you know. And so outside of the classroom, how do we engage those students? And so we have all of these events and programs like conferences and retreats where we engage these students outside of the classroom so that they can actually learn, you know, and apply what they're learning inside the classroom outside of that, because the goal is when they get their degrees, we want them to be industry ready.
Right, ready to go into the workplace somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
So you guys are sophomores or about to be sophomores. What are you thinking about in terms of career?
My major is social work, so I teach the importance of education, so children can grow up and know from a young age that you can go to college. And
so you want to do what he's doing, sort of, right? That's right. Right. What about
My
you?
major is communication, and I'm focusing in public advocacy. So I would love to be an advocate, but at heart, I'm a writer, and so I love to write, and that's why I have a website, writersforever.com, that I've started, where I want people to.
Very good.
I want us to really grow into a social network, because I feel that the social network these days, people aren't really thinking about like what they're sharing and how they're sharing it and how it affects their lives.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. Well, I can say from personal experience that being a writer is a very rewarding career, and the way to do it is exactly how you're doing it. To be a writer, you got to write. There isn't really any other way to learn about it. So that's really good. Tell me a little more about the difference now at Madonna, now that you're doing this. I mean, are you seeing numerical differences in terms of the number of kids, but then also some sort of dynamics I would imagine are changing?
you know, I was a student there. I can eyeball the campus, and you know, there weren't any other African American male students that were FIDIAC students, meaning first time in any college at the university during the time that I was there or lived on campus as well. That's one, but the dynamics, it's all positive. It's a win-win-win. I mean, each of these students have a faculty and a student affairs professional that serves as their mentor. And, you know, these mentors, you know, their lives have just been impacted because, you know, you can turn on the local news every night. In that first 10-minute segment, you want to see images of African-American males in a negative spotlight.
Yeah, in bad situations.
Absolutely. So we get a chance to glamorize these guys and so many people. I mean, it's an entire team with the Real Life 101 program and their mentors with Madonna University and the BLG program. I mean, we designed a model literally that can go nationwide for urban youth, you know. So the dynamics, it's a win-win for African Americans, for whites, for international,
and for the whole campus.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, good work. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. That's our program for today. Thanks for watching. You can get more information about our guests at AmericanBlackJournal.org, and as always, you can connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll see you next time on American Black Journal.
This program is part of American Graduate. Let's make it happen. A public media initiative made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
At DTE Energy, we believe that we have a greater responsibility. We believe that being part of a community means being involved in the fabric of that community, investing time, effort, and resources in the communities we serve. DTE Energy Foundation is a proud sponsor of American Black Journal.